Hey everybody, welcome back. We are officially 6 days away from the start of the football season. I'm very excited. Hopefully, you guys are too. I thought we would do a little follow up to my previous video now that we have the draft on the books and we actually have players on teams and we can start speculating wildly and having fun with that. Um, Couple pieces of news to touch on before I dive into the teams and the matchups and things like that. Um, the first thing I wanted to touch on was Leonard Fournette. Obviously, that's more news for me than anybody else because I have him. But he went to the Bucks. For anybody who didn't see that in the group me, um, I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's going to be a little bit of a committee there, but hopefully he'll be the lead of that committee. Johnny thinks so. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Kind of excited. I'm glad he's on a team at least. But I think that we probably could have found a better landing spot for him. I don't know. Whatever. The other big piece is that Adrian Peterson has been cut from Washington. I think that just happened this morning. I was looking at the tweets on that, but um, this is bad news for Tyson, who has Adrian Peterson, and good news for Bridger, I believe, who has Antonio Gibson. So Antonio Gibson, the new starter for the Washington football team, no longer the Washington Redskins. Um, you know how big of a boost that is. I guess we'll see. I don't know what kind of team we're going to be looking at. It sounds like Dwayne Haskins kind of has the offense under his thumb now and is doing pretty well. So could be a really good score for Bridger. Tyson's going to have to drop him and see drop. Well, I guess Peterson could go somewhere, so he doesn't have to drop him. You can do whatever you want there. Um, those are the only two pieces of news that I really wanted to look at. The other thing that came up in the group me is whether or not the season is going to go through without any interruptions, and I am skeptical. I don't think that we will see a whole an uninterrupted season. Um, I don't think that they will scrap the season. It's a possibility, I'm sure, but I'm sure that we'll see things like in the NBA how they have teams that are you know abstaining from playing. That was more of I think more of a protest than anything to do with COVID. But yeah, I mean, I think that we will see we're in a time of unrest. Excuse me. And I think that we will see some interruptions. But that's one of the things that's kind of cool about fantasy football too is that it's happening in the real world. It is affected by things other than just the talent of the players and the rules of the game. Real life is actually happening, and so it's just like an injury to a player. Only in this case, it's an injury to the whole league. That's what it would be. So, so yeah, I think that there will be interruptions, but I don't think that it will derail everything, at least not permanently. So, taking a look back at the draft, we got pretty much everybody on. Not right away. We had a couple of people who were either late getting on or couldn't get it to work right away. But I think by the end we had everybody drafting, which is great. We got the Skype up and running. So yeah, another one on the books, and now we're ready to dive in. What I was thinking that I would do today is take a look at the first three matchups that we have here. And just kind of get a little analysis on that, and then I'll do another video before the games start next week for the other three matchups. So let's take a look here. First up, me and Chase. This is always a tough one because Chase is good. he knows he does a lot of research and he knows what he's talking about. So I always hate when I have to play him first, but it is what it is. So as far as players go, QB Carson Wentz, Matt Stafford, I do feel like I've got the advantage there. Carson Wentz is playing Washington. Chicago, I don't know if their defense is what it used to be, but plus it's Matt Stafford. I don't think Matt Stafford's that great, if I'm being honest. Adam Thielen, Chris Godwin, I feel like he's got me there. Godwin is just a really good receiver. And he's now got Tom Brady thrown to him, although Tom Brady doesn't seem to go deep as much as he used to. But he's still Tom Brady, so I feel like Chris Godwin will outscore Adam Thielen. DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton. This one I feel like is a little more even. Carolina is playing Las Vegas. That's still weird to see. Las Vegas Raiders. So that could be pretty good for me. DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton is playing Tennessee, whose defense is supposed to be okay. I don't know. Maybe I do have the edge on that one. Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke is obviously going to win out there. Well, not obviously. I mean, Derrick Henry has had a couple insane games, but I feel like Zeke versus the Rams is going to turn out better than Derrick Henry versus Denver. Miles Sanders still showing as questionable. Struggling through a hamstring injury. Never want to see a hamstring injury because those can persist. Yeah, hopefully he's good to go. Hopefully he's good to go week 1. Austin Eckler, not injured, playing Cincinnati. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a higher ceiling there. So I am a little bit worried about that matchup. Noah Fant, Hunter Henry, that I'm not worried about. Hunter Henry will find some way to get injured in the first 5 minutes. So I'm just kidding. I actually wanted tried to draft Hunter Henry, but you got to him before I did. So I don't know, maybe. But Noah Fant, I mean, he's a real talent, so I'm excited to see what he can do for me. David Johnson is on a new team. Raheem Mostert is kind of the established starter there. I actually have Matt Breida on my bench, so I'm hoping that Mostert doesn't do too well on multiple levels. I don't want him to score higher against me, but then also I wish that Matt Breida could take over as the starter. But I don't know. Versus Kansas City, their defense, other than a couple of breakouts, normally is not great against the run. So I'm hoping that David Johnson can, even though he's on a new team now with the Houston Texans, I'm hoping that he can pull it off and get me some points here. Raheem Mostert versus Arizona, though. Arizona, notoriously terrible defense. So I don't know. That one could be a good matchup there. Kaimi Fairbairn, Robbie Gould, these are both kickers, so who cares? I don't care about them at all. So I'm hoping next year just to get rid of kickers altogether. I don't know. There's no way to predict if they're going to be good. There's no way to. I don't know. I have a lot of opinions there, but we have them for now. So here they are. I dropped the LA Rams defense and picked up the Chargers. I think that they will score me a lot of points against Cincinnati. Denver versus Tennessee. Yeah, I mean that one a little bit more of a question mark. Tennessee could be pretty good. So Denver historically has had a good defense, not so much recently, but we'll see. As far as bench players, not really a ton to see here. Robert Woods, I could potentially see him throwing him in over Cortland Sutton maybe. Emmanuel Sanders. Oh, is Cortland Sutton still on Denver? So you've got both of them. Okay, Emmanuel Sanders. and Cortland Sutton. My side of things, I've got Kerryon Johnson, and I'm thinking pretty hard about throwing him in, perhaps over David Johnson. I don't know. That's a decision I have to make. So, I also have Deontay Johnson and Devontae Parker, who I could potentially put in. Leonard Fournette, obviously we talked about him already. Still not sure how I feel about that, but yeah, that'll be the matchup between me and Chase. So moving on to the next matchup here, that would be Chet and Bridger. All right, yeah, Drew Brees versus Tampa Bay. I'm interested to see what Tampa Bay's defense is going to be like, because they, in the past, have not been great. Pretty much, if you're going against Tampa Bay, you're getting a lot of points. So I'm excited to see how they do. Obviously, I have an interest there with Leonard Fournette. Versus Matt Ryan playing Seattle. Remains to be seen if their defense is fantastic or not. Allen Robinson, DeAndre Hopkins. Ooh, that's a good one. Allen Robinson playing Detroit. DeAndre Hopkins playing San Francisco. Yeah, Bridger got DeAndre Hopkins. That's cool. That's a good snag. San Francisco's defense, very good. So we'll see how that goes. I feel like Allen Robinson will probably do a little bit better this week. Calvin Ridley and Cooper Kupp. That was pretty even matchup there versus Dallas versus Seattle. Calvin Ridley, was he with Atlanta before? He was, right? Somebody moved around, and now I can't remember who. But Cooper Kupp at one point was injured, dealing with ankle soreness. Where was I? Jameson came in to tell me about his Pokemon game that he's doing. Calvin Ridley, Cooper Kupp. Yeah, Cooper Kupp at one point was supposed to be a low ankle sprain that he had, but now they're saying that there's no injury there. Hopefully that's true. Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley. Alvin Kamara, it's looking like, is over the salary negotiations fight that he was in. He tweeted something about life is good. So it's looking like he's up and ready to go, which is good news because he's playing Tampa Bay, which again, historically means a lot of points. Saquon Barkley versus Pittsburgh. It is going to be, looks like, raining there, which generally leans towards running backs. So yeah, that he should be getting a lot of points there. Although Pittsburgh, their defense could be robust, so we'll see. Running backs like Saquon Barkley that have the wider range of outcomes, right? He could score anywhere from 10 points to 30 or 40 points just because he's so good and he's used so much. I feel like that kind of affects their average a little bit, and so this could be a little bit high versus Pittsburgh, but we'll see. We'll see on that. So this one's interesting. Kenyon Drake, Arizona's running back. He's the main guy now that David Johnson is gone. Of course, he was the main guy before anyway. They weren't using David Johnson. And Antonio Gibson, who we talked about a little bit earlier. Yeah, that's interesting because Antonio Gibson, I expect this projection to go up quite a bit because Adrian Peterson is gone now. That could be interesting. Now, this is also interesting. Jared Cook, George Kittle. This one's a little lopsided. George Kittle playing Arizona. Yeah, he'll probably smash there. Jared Cook versus Tampa Bay could do well. Jared Cook doesn't have quite the history that Kittle does in terms of scoring massive amounts of points. But that'll be interesting to see. Le'Veon Bell, DJ Chark. Okay, so we've got, in the flex, we've got a running back, Le'Veon Bell versus Buffalo, and DJ Chark versus Indianapolis. DJ Chark, I feel like, is a big question mark right now. Le'Veon Bell, he's going to get used. He may not do well. but he is going to be used. I mean, he hasn't been super efficient, but he's going to get probably 8 to 12 points no matter what. DJ Chark could end up with 0. Or he could end up with 25 points. I mean, he's a big question mark there. Kickers, who cares? Baltimore, San Francisco, okay, a couple of really great defenses. Well, I mean, we'll see how they are this season, but historically good defenses. Anything interesting on the bench? Brandon Cooks. It will be interesting to see what he does. He's got a serious history with concussions. I've had him in the past before and been pretty heartbroken by him. Daniel Jones is the other quarterback for Dad. Marvin Jones could have a great year. Nothing else too interesting there. 2 tight ends on the bench. That is interesting, actually. I don't know why, if you got George Kittle, you would need 2 more tight ends. But all right, let's take a look now at Tom, Buffalo expectations versus my brother-in-law Tyson, Prince Juggernaut. All right, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott. That is interesting to me that there's such a discrepancy there. Dak Prescott, I guess, is a running quarterback, which is probably why he's got the boost here. Aaron Rodgers, obviously one of the greats. Versus Minnesota, though. I guess that makes sense. Minnesota's got a good defense, and the Rams, we have yet to see if they're going to have a good defense. So I guess that the discrepancy makes sense there. Julio Jones, who I have in another league, I'm hoping he does well, versus Seattle, Devontae Adams. Man, Devontae is a monster. But also, again, versus Minnesota. So that's interesting. He's got Aaron Rodgers. He's got Devontae Adams. So if he's getting points, then he's probably getting points. So we'll see what happens. Kenny Golladay and Michael Gallup. Kenny Golladay versus Chicago. Michael Gallup versus the Rams. I watched the Fantasy Footballers podcast. That sounds weird to watch a podcast, but they have it on YouTube. I've got the open in a tab here, and they love Kenny Golladay. But he's never. I don't know. I don't feel like I've ever seen him just be insanely good. But he projected 13 points. I mean, that's a wide receiver 1. So again, kind of a question mark here with the Rams defense. So Gallup could be good. Oh, he's got Prescott and Gallup. Okay. So Prescott throwing to Gallup. So you're hoping that Dallas does really well. Melvin Gordon with the Denver Broncos now. Kind of another question mark there. A couple question marks, really. Is it Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Is that his name? Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Obviously, Kansas City's my team, so I'm hoping that he is fantastic. And I want to say that it's his second year, so he's not a rookie per se. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is probably bloated. I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to do that many points. Especially if he's going to be splitting carries. But I feel like this one's probably closer than Melvin Gordon is a veteran, and he's very good. He is in a new system, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire I don't think has been a starter before, as far as I know. So I think that this one will be closer than it looks. Let's see. Tight end, Tyler Higbee, Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is a monster. But Tyler Higbee could be primed for a breakout. So I do think versus Cleveland, I think Mark Andrews is going to score more points this week. Juju and Rob Gronkowski. We can do tight ends in our flex? I'm the commissioner, and I didn't know that. That is an interesting choice. Let's see what's on the bench here. Darius Slayton, Chris Herndon. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you here. I'm hoping that Gronkowski back with Tom Brady does really well. I think that, well, I don't know. Juju had a rough year last year too, so that could be closer than I'm thinking. But I think Juju will probably have a breakout game versus the Giants and win out over Gronkowski. Kickers. Nope. Pittsburgh, New England. Pittsburgh's defense has been great. Generally, thunderstorms, that's going to be on the side of the defense because that will normally dampen the throwing game. So Pittsburgh should have a good game. New England's defense, it remains to be seen if they are going to be as good as they were last year. But if they are half as good as they were last year, then this was a fantastic pickup. Because they were, I mean, there were a lot of running back ones that New England scored more points than. So let's take a look at the bench, see if there's anything interesting here. Extra QB. Tariq Cohen. Yeah, that is interesting. Let's see. What do you got here? Kareem Hunt. Yeah, Tariq Cohen could have a good year. Extra tight end, Mike Gesicki. Don't know much about him. Judy. This is kind of a new Judy, wide receiver for Denver, who has Drew Lock at QB. We've kind of seen him be really mediocre, so I don't expect great things from Judy, but could be a good pickup there. And let's see. I want to see who that is. Tom. Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald's getting old, man. I don't know about that. But yeah, so those are the first three matchups this week. We took a look at mine and Chase's, took a look at Chet and Bridger, and Tom and Tyson. We'll take a look at Scott. Sorry. We'll take a look at Skylar and Johnny, Shane, and I thought Seahawk because I thought Skylar because of the Seahawks. This is actually Aaron. My bad. Aaron versus Johnny, Shane versus Skylar, and Jovid19, which is a great name. My neighbor Joe versus Zach. We'll take a look at those in the next video. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great week. I'm excited for football. Talk to y'all later.